Preserving milk, the Amish way. In a world where convenience often reigns, the Amish community stands out with its incredible ability to keep milk fresh without refrigeration or pasteurization. Their methods embody a profound respect for tradition, nature, and resourcefulness, showing how generations have handed down time-tested ways of preserving milk's freshness and nutritional value. One method the Amish occasionally use is drying milk into a powdered form. Though it's not widely practiced, when they do it, it's like witnessing a clever trick, transforming a perishable liquid into a shelf-stable powder. It might not last quite forever, but it sure comes close. If you think a glass of milk doesn't contain much water, think again. The drying process is like squeezing out every last drop from a sponge you didn't realize was that damp. The end result? A fine, dry powder that can sit in the pantry for months without any risk of, maybe I shouldn't have smelled this moments. Just add water and voila, you're back in business. It may not taste exactly like fresh milk straight from Bessie the cow, but in a pinch, it's a lifesaver. Amish families that use this technique aren't working with high-tech factory machines. Instead, they often rely on homemade dehydrators or wood-fired setups. After all, they can build almost anything from wood and nails. This process takes patience, far more than most of us might be willing to give, but that's part of its charm. Slow and steady wins the race, and in this case, wins a supply of powdered milk that can outlast 2 harsh Ohio winters. Fun fact, if stored properly, powdered milk can last up to 25 years, longer than most Hollywood marriages. If there's one thing I learned from my time on an Amish farm, it's that patience is woven into everything they do. Once, when I tried my hand at churning butter, my arms were burning after just 5 minutes of cranking. The lady of the house laughed and said, "Tired already? That's just the warm-up." This same steady, unhurried approach makes drying milk successful. It's about keeping a low heat, stirring often, and adding a little hope. It's a reminder that, in the 21st century, patience can sometimes feel like a lost art. The beauty of powdered milk is how well it suits a self-sufficient lifestyle. With milk in powder form, there are so many options. Mix it with water for drinking, use it in recipes, or keep it for emergencies. There's no need for a fridge and no looming expiration date to worry about. And here's a little insider tip. It's not just the people who benefit. Some Amish farmers use it to feed animals during dry spells, or when fresh milk is scarce. It's a simple, practical solution to a tricky problem. In typical Amish style, they make it look easy, even though anyone who's tried it knows simplicity often requires a lot of work. And it's an invaluable resource when the weather takes a turn. Imagine a winter storm that cuts power for days. For most of us, that's panic time. No fridge, no milk, and chaos at the grocery store. But for the Amish, it's just another Tuesday. They're prepared, living a life that quietly endures whatever challenges come along. Amish butter. In the Amish community, jars of powdered milk and tightly sealed containers line shelves, waiting patiently for when they're needed. The charm of these preservation methods isn't just about keeping milk safe for drinking. It's about peace of mind. Turning milk into butter, however, is more than just a preservation tactic. It's a hands-on workout with a delicious reward at the end. The Amish way of making butter might look simple, but after a few minutes of churning that thick cream, you'll feel muscles you didn't know you had. It's like trying to stir cement. At first, it's exciting, but after 10 minutes, you start to wonder how your grandmother made it look so effortless. Once, I tried to help churn butter while visiting an Amish family. 5 minutes in, my arms were ready to quit, and their teenage daughter took over with the energy of someone who'd been churning butter since birth. She smiled and teased, "Already tired?" Yes, making butter builds both character and strength. The process begins by separating the cream from the milk, which typically sits to settle overnight. There's no rush here. The Amish know patience is part of the recipe. Once the cream is skimmed off, it's poured into a churn, and the real work begins. Some families use a traditional hand crank churn, while others use a plunger-style churn, which is basically a tall cylinder with a stick that you pump up and down until your arms turn to jelly. No electricity here, just pure elbow grease and determination. After what feels like forever, but is usually about 20 minutes, the cream finally thickens and butter begins to form. Along with it comes buttermilk, which is saved for baking or drinking. Nothing is wasted. This waste not, want not approach is what makes butter such a brilliant preservation method. Butter lasts much longer than milk, especially when kept in a cool spot. Salted butter takes preservation even further. The salt acts as a natural preservative, keeping bacteria away so the butter can last for weeks. And if you've ever tasted fresh Amish butter on warm bread, you know it's worth every bit of effort. This butter is so rich and indulgent, it almost feels like a guilty pleasure. Some Amish families store their butter in stone crocks tucked away in cool cellars, a throwback to old-fashioned storage that makes you wonder if modern fridges are really necessary. On cooler days, the butter sits proudly on the kitchen counter, ready to add flavor to anything, from morning toast to mashed potatoes at dinner. What's beautiful about butter making is how sustainable it is. There's no frantic rush to use up gallons of milk before they spoil. Instead, it's a process that turns something perishable into something enduring. Butter fits seamlessly into the rhythms of Amish life. It's not just a way to preserve milk, but a practical tradition. Salted butter kept in a cool cellar can stay fresh for months, outlasting most expiration dates we see on store-bought tubs. And let's not forget the buttermilk, which is whisked into pancakes, biscuits, or cornbread, adding a rich flavor that store-bought milk just can't match. There's also something deeply satisfying about the act of churning butter. It's not only about the final product, it's about the journey too. Maybe that's what makes it so special. Every spoonful is a result of hard work, making butter feel like a reward rather than just a condiment. It's something you appreciate more than any product pulled off a grocery store shelf. In true Amish style, they've managed to turn this necessity into an art form, one that leaves a lasting impression. And the process isn't just about tradition, it's incredibly practical. On hot summer days, when fresh milk can spoil in a flash, butter stays firm and dependable. While milk may sour, butter remains, calm and ready on the shelf for spreading, melting, or cooking. And here's the best part. Even in the summer heat, if butter starts to soften, it doesn't spoil immediately. It just becomes easier to spread. Now that's a win-win. If only more things in life could handle the heat as gracefully as butter does. Why cheese? Cheese isn't just preserved milk, it's a dream turned reality for dairy. Transforming milk into cheese is less of a chore and more like helping milk reach its full potential. The Amish have perfected this craft, making it a true art form. With just a touch of rennet, some stirring, and a healthy dose of patience, they convert fresh milk into incredible rounds of cheese. Hard cheeses like cheddar, Parmesan, and Gouda stand the test of time. These cheeses are the marathoners of the dairy world, built to endure far longer than softer cheeses like brie or mozzarella. In many ways, they're the survivalists of the cheese world, able to withstand power outages or scorching Ohio summers. Stored in the cool cellars of Amish farmhouses, a wax-sealed cheddar block can age gracefully for months, sharpening in flavor over time. It's like the wise family elder who just gets wittier with age. What's the secret to these cheeses' longevity? Wax. Once waxed, cheese is sealed tight, safe from air and bacteria. There's no need for high-tech, climate-controlled caves. A simple, cool, dark spot will do. An ice house or even a root cellar works perfectly. Imagine a hefty wheel of cheese quietly aging beside a basket of potatoes, patiently waiting for its moment to shine. Here's a fun fact. The longer cheese ages, the stronger its flavor becomes. An Amish cheddar aged for a year or two? That's not just cheese. It's an experience. You'll know you've hit the jackpot when a single bite makes your taste buds light up and your nose twitch from the intensity. Aged cheddar even forms crystals, adding little crunchy surprises with every bite, a treasure hunt for the palate. Curious about how Amish families store all that cheese? It's simple. They slice off just what they need for the week and keep the rest waxed and preserved for later. Cheese isn't just a luxury, it's essential. On cold winter days when fresh milk is scarce, a slice of aged cheese turns plain bread into a feast. Once, I visited an Amish family during cheese-making season. The kitchen was filled with the smell of milk and whey, and big pots bubbled with curds. They let me stir the pot, a lot tougher than it looked. After a few minutes, my arm was burning, but the kids, who had been stirring all day, took it in stride. When I asked how they managed, one just grinned and said, "We build our strength, one wheel of cheddar at a time." For Amish families, cheesemaking is a time-honored tradition. Each wheel, each batch, carries a piece of family history, passed down through generations. As someone who's tasted their cheese, I can say confidently, there's nothing like it. When I brought some home, it seemed to get even better over time, as if waiting for the perfect moment to show its full flavor. Don't let the slow aging process fool you. Making cheese takes time, but the payoff is instant. The moment a knife slices through the wax, it's like opening a gift. Each cut feels special, reminding us that patience has its rewards. So, the next time you see a wheel of Amish cheese, know that it's more than just dairy. It's a celebration of patience, practicality, and a bit of fun. And if you're lucky enough to have a block aging at home, you're in for a treat. Just don't let it age too long, or it might start to develop a personality of its own. And what about milk that's gone sour? The Amish know that sometimes what seems spoiled can actually be on its way to something better. Fermentation turns milk into clabber, yogurt, and other tangy treats, preserving dairy without electricity. This process isn't rushed or complicated. It's raw milk, time, and the right conditions. There's a simplicity here that feels like a small rebellion against expiration dates. Leave milk sitting out in a cool room or cellar long enough, and it transforms, thickening into something rich and cultured. Clabber, a staple in Amish kitchens, forms naturally into a creamy texture, perfect spread over warm cornbread or biscuits. It's humble but satisfying and connects us to early settlers who valued every drop of milk. Not everyone loves clabber at first. I remember a visit to an Amish farm where the lady of the house handed me a spoonful with a proud smile. I was hesitant, but after one taste, the tangy richness won me over. It's the kind of food that reminds us that some things only improve with time, like a good friendship or a well-aged cheddar. Salt. In Amish homes, salt isn't just sprinkled on food. It's a cornerstone of their preservation practices. Take butter, for instance. Before being stored, it's often generously salted, then tucked away in crocks or tightly sealed jars. Some families even half bury these jars underground in a cool cellar to keep the temperature steady. When it comes to cheese, the preservation process requires patience. Hard cheeses are either rubbed down or soaked in a brine solution that's so concentrated it could rival the Dead Sea. It's not unusual to spot a few salt-brined cheddar wheels resting on shelves, waiting for the moment they'll add richness to a Sunday meal. But for the Amish, salt is more than just a preservative. It's a tradition. There's a practiced rhythm to how Amish families prepare their salted butter, mixing in just the right amount to keep it both fresh and flavorful. This isn't guesswork. It's a time-honored recipe, a kind of family secret passed down through generations. And as unassuming as it may be, salt turns out to be the unsung hero, allowing cheeses to mature for months, growing sharper and tastier with time. My first taste of Amish salted butter was unforgettable. A friend handed me a warm slice of bread, topped with a thick spread of golden butter. Expecting it to taste like regular butter, I was surprised when the salt hit my taste buds with a perfectly timed burst of flavor. That's when I realized that, in a place where refrigerators are scarce, salt isn't just about taste. It's essential for survival. Kefir is like the bold, adventurous cousin of traditional dairy products, full of character and complexity. While yogurt is the responsible older sibling, kefir dances to its own tune, transforming plain milk into something exciting and unexpected. Made with grains that contain both bacteria and yeast, kefir becomes a tangy, fizzy drink that's as good for your health as it is satisfying. The Amish have embraced kefir as if it were their own creation, using it as both a nourishing food and a natural remedy. One of the best things about kefir is its staying power. Once fermented, it keeps well in a cool spot, which makes it a reliable alternative when fresh milk starts to sour. Plus, kefir's probiotics bring extra benefits, aiding digestion with every sip. Don't be surprised if you see an Amish farmer offering kefir to their livestock too. The animals thrive on it, proving that a tangy, probiotic-rich drink has its perks for everyone on the farm. If you haven't tried kefir before, let me tell you, it's not your average milk drink. The first time I tasted it, I was skeptical. Having grown up on regular milk, I was surprised by the bubbly tartness of kefir, but after a few sips, I realized that it wasn't spoiled milk. It was a delicious experience. Drinking a glass of homemade kefir with a slice of warm, fresh bread is a memory I cherish, a culinary adventure that's as close to home as the kitchen table. Here's a fun fact. Kefir can be made from various types of milk, cow, goat, or even sheep, each bringing a unique flavor to the table. So, if you're feeling experimental, you might enjoy trying different kinds of milk, with each batch offering a slightly different flavor profile. And let's not overlook the magic of kefir grains. These tiny grains multiply over time, making kefir production a bit like a science project that keeps on giving. Every batch can result in more grains to share with friends or use in new recipes. Sharing kefir grains can be a way to connect with neighbors or introduce someone to the joy of cultured milk. It's also a great conversation starter. Those strange little grains have a way of sparking curiosity. So, next time you pour a glass of milk, remember, it doesn't have to be just a drink. It could be an adventure waiting to happen. Kefir and the art of flavor kefir opens up a world of possibilities with its refreshing, deep tanginess. With each sip, you're treated to a layered journey of flavors, all thanks to the fermentation process. For anyone who's ever delighted in discovering a new favorite food, kefir is the perfect addition to the Amish way of preserving milk, making it not only practical but deliciously unique. Who needs a fridge when nature provides something even better? Spring houses, nature's cool solution. Enter the spring house, a clever, age-old method Amish communities have relied on for generations. Built right over a natural spring, a spring house is like a walk-in cooler powered entirely by the earth. You can almost hear Mother Nature giving a satisfied chuckle. Cool water flows underneath, keeping the air inside refreshingly chilly year-round. Milk jugs placed here stay fresh and cool without the need for modern refrigeration. It's like a little retreat for milk each time it's stored. And it's not just milk that benefits. Eggs, butter, and cheese also find their way into these cool waters, making the spring house a one-stop solution for dairy preservation. Imagine standing in a spring house on a sweltering summer day, the air much cooler inside, with the tranquil sound of water flowing. It's refreshingly serene, a perfect hideaway that even beats the best air conditioning on the market. The first time I stepped into one, it felt like a hidden treasure, a quiet, welcoming place. The cool air enveloped me like an old friend, with the fresh scent of cheese mingling with the crispness of the spring water. And the milk, oh, it tasted like it had been given a little blessing from the spring itself. The Amish have truly mastered the art of making the most out of what they have, and the spring house is a testament to their resourcefulness. What's remarkable is how well these spring houses maintain their coolness through both scorching summers and bitter winters. While most of us are adjusting thermostats, the Amish simply let nature take care of it. It's a reminder that sometimes the best solutions are the simplest, drawn from the earth with a touch of ingenuity and a lot of patience. Using a spring house is a lesson in sustainable living. No electric bills, no gadgets, just pure, effective preservation. The next time you enjoy a glass of milk or spread butter on warm bread, remember all the resourceful methods that have kept it fresh, turning milk into an essential part of daily life. Sour cream, a tangy treasure. Sour cream is like the wise elder of dairy, slightly tangy, a little quirky, and perfect for adding depth to any dish. The Amish make it simply, often letting raw milk sit until it sours naturally. Some might add specific cultures to speed things up, but it's all about allowing nature to take its course. This slow, hands-off approach mirrors the Amish philosophy of working with nature rather than against it. Why does this creamy delight last so well? The tanginess of sour cream comes from lactic acid created during fermentation, which helps prevent harmful bacteria from growing. This makes it ideal for a variety of dishes, from drizzling over baked potatoes to adding a dollop on warm cornbread. I remember my first taste of homemade Amish sour cream. At first, I hesitated. Sour didn't sound too appetizing, but one bite on that warm cornbread changed my mind entirely. The creamy tang was a revelation that put every store-bought version I'd ever tried to shame. Sour cream, like other Amish methods, turns the simple into something special. It's about transformation, a way of taking milk and allowing it to evolve into a pantry-friendly delight. Imagine serving a rich, tangy sour cream alongside your favorite homemade soup. Your guests would marvel, never guessing that it's the result of letting milk naturally sour over time. And sour cream's versatility is unmatched. It's perfect in dips, dressings, and even pancakes, where it brings an extra level of fluffiness that's simply out of this world. The beauty of sour cream is that it embodies Amish ingenuity. By embracing simple, time-honored techniques, they demonstrate how patience and respect for nature can preserve not only milk, but an entire way of life. Each spoonful speaks to sustainability and a deep connection to the land, values that go beyond the need for modern conveniences. With methods like these, the Amish show us how preserving nature's bounty is not just possible, but can also be richly rewarding.